Hey everybody, you're watching Cadroll Hunter. In today's video, I'm going to show you why you want to have an excellent relationship with the tellers at your bank, why you always want to give them your phone number, and why when they call you to tell you they have something they think you might be interested in, you should always say yes. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, this is James and you're watching my channel Cadroll Hunter. If you watch this channel, you know that I talk regularly about having a good relationship with the tellers at your bank. If you are a coin collector, I highly advise that you do that. I'm in the bank all the time and I'm always asking them if they have anything interesting or unusual or different. And I've given them my phone number. I've told this story before, but the first time I gave them my phone number and said, hey, if you get anything interesting like pennies or silver dollars or things like that, please give me a call. They took my number, but they didn't call me maybe for 6 months. And I just kept asking every single time I was in, hey, I think you've got my number. Can you make sure? And if you have anything interesting, well, finally they did call me. Now they call me fairly regularly, and that's the kind of relationship you want to have with your tellers. And these things here in front of you are some of the reasons why. Now this stack over here, I want to talk about first. This is just a stack of quarters. Now the bank didn't call me about this one, but I was in the bank and I was taking out $1,000 in toonies. And the teller said, hey, I've got some things in my till I set aside for you. I figured you might be interested in. They just looked and sounded different. So that was a little unusual. I said, sure, what have you got there? She pulled it out and it was this stack of quarters. She thought it looked and sounded different. And you might be able to hear some of what sounds a little bit different there. So I bought it. It's $3 worth of quarters, and I paid, of course, $3 for it. But I think we'll start here. We'll take a look at what is in here. So first of all, here is a look at the edges. And what I can tell from the edge right now, we've got certainly a corroded and damaged coin. You can see the copper edge of some American coins, so those would look and sound different. But you can see some pretty white looking edges. And if you think there might be some silver in there, you're right. So this top one, that is just a regular 1978. There's nothing special about it. But check this out. Right below that, a 1966 80% silver quarter that I just paid 25 cents for. Not 50 cents, 25 cents for this. And all because I've gone in and made a habit of asking the tellers if they find anything unusual or different to hold it aside for me. And that's what they do. So this silver quarter is worth right now almost $8 in silver, which is crazy. And I paid 25 cents for it. We've got a pretty corroded US. It looks like it's from the 80s. There's nothing really special about that. We've got a bunch of Americans in here. Got to get the focus in. 1973 clad quarter, nothing special. We've got some American women quarters. There's a Sally Ride, but another Canadian one. And another silver. It's a Bobcat, 1967. It could be 50% silver. It could be 80% silver, but it's more silver at face value and more US, just a common 1973. And then more silver. Check that out, 1965. This is, again, 80% silver. And I think the rest here are all US. There's some newer ones in here. So 1922 Denver. There's another Sally Ride. Another 22 Denver. Another Sally Ride. And another 70s. But if they ever call you or say, hey, would you be interested in something? I would just say yes without even looking to see what it is. Worst case scenario, you can just deposit it back at the bank. But there are 3 silver quarters, and because I've been so persistent at the branch, the teller had my phone number. If there was anything, well, these ones here they called me about, but they know I'm interested, so they set it aside. They thought, James might like this. I'm going to hold it here. I know he's going to be back in because I go to the bank at least once a week, sometimes a few times a week, so they know they're not going to have to hold on to it for too long. But silver at face value is never a bad thing. Now, these next piles of coins are pretty interesting. So the bank called me to say, hey, we've got some silver dollars and some silver 50-cent pieces. Do you want them? And I always say yes. In fact, I say, I'll be right over as soon as I can. Sometimes if I'm busy, I might have to come back the next day and I'll just say, you know what, I'll be in tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And they'll hold them for me. And I think that your bank will do the same if they've offered to you anything over the phone. You might not be able to run right over. So in this case, I was able to say, yeah, I'll be right there, and went over. And I never asked to look at it. I don't want to sort through it when I'm there. And these were all in a baggie, like just literally a Ziploc bag. And she had counted it all out. And so she knew how much it was. And I just paid face value. So these are coins that somebody had and just deposited them. And oftentimes when somebody deposits these nickel, these are all nickel. There's no silver in here. So spoiler alert right there. But they come from somebody's collection. Sometimes they are circulated. In fact, most of the time they're somewhat circulated, but somebody's held on to them. And usually they're casual collectors. You know, when you find something like this, it's a little unusual. It's a little different. You can see this one here is actually not in terrible condition. It's actually pretty nice. 1980, little bit of marks on it. But somebody's had it and finally either decided they didn't want to keep them anymore, or somebody's passed away. Unfortunately, that's what happens a lot. And they've just deposited it at the bank for face value. I'm going to sort these out, so we're not going to look at them individually, but there are some incredible things. I haven't looked in any great detail, but I know there's some awesome stuff. When I was at the bank, I couldn't tell that. It was just a bag of nickel dollars. The first thing I could see right away, because it was a clear bag, was that there was no silver. So that was, you know, a little bit disappointing. I'm always hoping for silver, but there's way more than silver to look for in these, and I'll show you that right now. Well, the very first thing that we can see in here is that one of these is not even a dollar. This is actually a $1 token for the city of North Bay, Ontario from 1984. And you'll see a house here. That is actually the homestead of the Dion quintuplets, and all 5 of their names are there. The Dion quintuplets, of course, were very famous. 5 babies, all born of one family, all at the same time. They were pretty much Canadian celebrities at the time. But look at that, the Dion quintuplets. So, I mean, I paid $1 for that, but that's pretty interesting anyhow. But we have a wide range of dates here, and some of these coins are in pretty nice condition. Look at that, 80 and the 1981. And here's how I can tell that these were likely part of an actual collection. You can see on this 1975 the tape mark across from the top to the bottom. This was probably put in somebody's album as the obverse facing coin. So the tape was on the reverse side with the canoe stuck into an album. And so we've got a 70, 75, 78, really nice 1980, really nice 1981. We've got some nice 1982s. That's Confederation. 83s. We've got the Jacques Cartier 84, a couple of 85s. And then this last one, which is the gem in this group. Check that out. That is a gem BU. That is a proof-like 1987, and it doesn't appear to have a mark on it. I'm just going to touch up by the edges for those of you who are concerned. And consider the fact that this was in a bag of coins loose. It could very well have been much more marked up. So beyond the fact that this is a proof-like and it's in beautiful condition, there's something actually quite special about the 1987, and that is that this year, the 1987, was the last year of the nickel dollar. In fact, these ones were only sold in sets because this is the first year the loonie was introduced. The loonie replaced the nickel Voyager dollar, so it wasn't created or put out for circulation or loose. It was only in sets, and this is a gorgeous example. I'm going to put this in a flip to protect it because it is just beautiful. And then we're going to look at what is in here, and there are even more incredible coins in this one. And just before we move on, I just wanted to pull that 1987 up here. So the mintage really low, just 287,000. You can see the 86 was over 3 million, and this was only in set. So that's a really, really hard one to come by. Beautiful coin. So we'll start here with the 50-cent pieces. We've got pretty nice looking 1975, a couple beautiful 1976s, a few of them actually. Two 1978s, there are some variations to look for. These are both the common square jewels. We're looking at the jewels in the crown. Some gorgeous 1979s here. They're all the more common round bust. It's like really looking at the front of the shoulder there. But, and then we've got, of course, an 85. But if you can see here, this is where things get really interesting. Just gleaming, proof-like. 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94. That's gorgeous. A whole run like this. This is absolutely somebody's collection. And here's where it gets even more interesting. This 96 is a specimen finish. You can see how it's got those lines behind the design. I'll flip it over very carefully here. And there is the queen, and she is very glossy, and there's that specimen finish. So I'll put that down. The 97 is also a specimen finish. By the way, this 96, this goes for over $5 retail. Very, very low mint. That 97 specimen. This 98, also a proof-like, just gorgeous. But if I flip it over, this features here the W mint mark. This was minted in Winnipeg, only in special sets. There are others, the 98s, that are minted without the W. And then we've got a 2000. Same thing applies here. There was a regular one and a W mint mark. This one does not feature the W mint mark. These are gorgeous coins, just absolutely gleaming. I'm going to flip up every single one of these and put them in my collection. These are all proof-like coins. They might have been known as specimens when they were issued. These were especially for collectors, basically with that beautiful mirror-like finish. Later on, like on this 96 and 97, the specimen coins featured this sort of textured field like you see here. But I got these all at face value. And because I've made my presence known to the bank and I've become good friends with the tellers, or I should at least say a very good and friendly customer with the tellers, and anytime they have something that they think I'd be interested in, they call me. And you should do the exact same thing. Let them know that you're a collector. Let them know you'd be interested in anything unusual or different. Let them decide what that is. If they find something, it could be foreign coins, it could be silver, it could be quote unquote silver dollars. Most of the time it's nickel, but every once in a while you're going to get silver. And you've seen that on my channel here. Well, that's the best advice I can give you. I hope you've enjoyed this look at some interesting bank scores, all because I've got a good relationship with my tellers and they let me know and hold aside anything that they get that they think I'd be interested in. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, Cateroll Hunter, hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit the notification bell so you know when my new videos come out. I've got new videos coming out all the time, and I'm always happy to share some advice and my purchases with you, bring you along for the ride. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again next time. The sponsors of today's video are Lighthouse Canada and the Charlton Press. Lighthouse Canada is the leading supplier of high-quality numismatic supplies in Canada, and the Charlton Press is the leading publisher of coin and paper money catalogs and price guides for Canadian collectors. Go check out their online stores today and use the exclusive discount code CRH20 for 20% off all your purchases.